Well, hello, everyone. My name is Amanda Poe, and I am with Cardinal's HR department. And I'd like to thank you for joining me today to review some of the frequently asked questions regarding COVID exposure. This presentation includes relevant HR best practices and is not intended to be legal advice. So, the bad news might come from a phone call or a routine screening at your workplace, but either way, it's important that you have a plan in place in the event that you have an employee, a customer, a third party vendor, or a worksite visitor and test positive, or when an employee is ordered to self isolate due to possible exposure. You should act quickly to ensure the safety of your employees and comply with all the guidelines that are set by the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, and the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, as well as your state and local health authorities. We've outlined some very simple steps for you. The first step is inform your leadership team. This could just be you if you own a very small business. The CDC has up to date information on their website concerning small businesses dealing with the virus, and we'll include that link for you. The second step, you need to thoroughly clean and disinfect your work site. Ensure that you're following the CDC and the OSHA guidelines with regards to that cleaning and the disinfection of your work site. And again, we'll include that link for you. Third step, inform your employees that possible exposure has occurred in the workplace, including those employees who might have had actual contact with that person. Prompt notification and follow-up reduces the risk that even more of your employees will be exposed to the virus. And these actions fall under OSHA's general duty requirement to provide a safe workplace. Now, keep in mind, you must not divulge the employee's identity or the individual's identity when making these notifications. It's important to provide enough information such that the coworkers can take precautions and self-monitor for symptoms without inadvertently divulging that private health information of the affected employee. Developing a simple notification form in advance will save time when notification is needed, and we have included a sample notice here. So the fourth step, employers partnering with Cardinal may simply contact us to determine if the COVID positive employee or employee ordered to self-isolate due to exposure is eligible for any type of paid time off under your company policy or any other local, state, or federal guidelines, because there's a lot of them. And your employee may be eligible for the emergency paid sick leave under the new Federal Families First Coronavirus Response Act. So that's the extra expanded FEMLA and emergency paid sick leave. So I just want to touch a little bit on the different types of leave that we might be looking at with you. Essentially, there's two types of leave. One is by contract. By contract, that means your policy that you have as a business. So paid time off, sick leave, vacation, or even an unpaid personal leave of absence. And then there are other types of leave that are required by law, whether it's state, local, federal. Most states, including Oregon and California, have a state sick time policy. Depending on the size of your business, that might be an unpaid or a paid sick leave. And we need to look at things like the Federal Family Medical Leave Act, the Oregon Family Leave Act, the California Family Rights Act, depending on where your business is. Other things to consider, leave as accommodation. Those who end up with the virus and they have other serious medical conditions, there may be additional accommodations that need to be made for them. And then the new Federal Families First Coronavirus Response Act, FERCA, that offers the expanded FEMLA and the emergency paid sick leave. That became effective April 1st. I know we've talked about that before. And we most certainly will help you review all these policies to determine which ones your employees are eligible for. So number 5, review and share quarantine and self-isolation guidelines with employees. Most employees with COVID-19 have a mild illness and can recover at home without a lot of medical care. The CDC offers healthcare guidelines for what to do when an employee is sick at home. The CDC also provides guidance on how to determine when an employee may return to work. Communicating with your employee that has tested positive should typically sound a little something like this. First of all, you need to have a conversation about the anticipated time off. Um, an estimated time off might look differently for different employees, whether they're asymptomatic, they have mild symptoms, they have severe symptoms, is there hospitalization? It's imperative that you have those open lines of communication. Be sure to confirm their phone number and their email. Employees nowadays are always looking for a better deal with their cell phone policies. And with that, we find that a lot of employees change their phone numbers or their email addresses often when they're upgrading their phone policies. So it's always good to just double check that you have their current contact information. Because some leaves, like sick leave or the emergency sick leave, FEMLA, we might have some forms we need them to fill out electronically. And it's important that that sick employee stays home until they're released to go back to work. Make sure you're sharing all the guidelines with them and let them know that you're going to review to see if they're eligible for any type of paid sick leave or other type of leave under the company policies. Because not only are they worried about getting their health better, but it's important that they know that you care and that you're going to look to see if there's a way that they can be paid while they're off. So number 6, return to work guidelines. The CDC has detailed information on returning to work, which contains specific requirements depending on whether the employee tested positive, whether they're exhibiting symptoms, or if they're returning from self-isolation just simply due to contact. OSHA also has a detailed booklet on the subject, so we'll include those links for you. And number 7, you should instruct your sick or quarantine employee to stay home until released by their physician or a public health official to return to work. You don't want your sick employees coming to work. Legally, clearance from a healthcare provider to return to work can be required by an employer. So yes, you can ask them to get clearance. However, you should be aware that healthcare providers and medical facilities may be short-staffed during this pandemic, and they may not be able to provide the actual note in a timely manner. So if a doctor's note is not easily available, you can simply follow the CDC guidelines on when an employee may return to work. They have a great outline, and we'll include that link for you. I also like to point out that in states like Oregon and California, if an employer requires an actual doctor's note to return to work, that employer may be required to pay for any associated cost for that employee to obtain the doctor's note. So if you're going to require the note, just know that you may be required to pay for that doctor's visit. And lastly, and most importantly, don't panic. Call Cardinal. Our HR specialists are ready to help you and your business. We have dedicated COVID-19 web pages with essential pandemic resources and links for both employers and employees. Keep in mind that when the phone call comes, these are the steps that should be taken, and they may occur in a slightly different order. Or some of these steps may happen simultaneously. So again, don't panic, just call Cardinal. You can reach out to us anytime with your questions. We are here to help. Thank you and have a great day.